This is The Walking Coat by Pauline Watson, pictures by Tomie de Paola, who is a very famous illustrator. So you might want to look for other books that he's illustrated. When Cousin Charlie bought himself a new hunting coat, Scott asked if he might have his old one. Sure, said Cousin Charlie. The coat was brown with green splotches. It had a hood. Scott loved it. What in the world will you do with that big, heavy coat? His mother asked. I will wear it when winter comes, Scott said, and he hung the coat in his closet. Some weeks later, in November, Scott went into the front yard. The icy wind whipped around him like a racing car. It was a very cold day. His eyes became leaking faucets. His nose and fingers felt like icicles. Scott hugged his arms and shivered. Then he remembered Cousin Charlie's coat. He ran to his room, took the coat from the closet, and put it on, hood and all. He went to the mirror and peeked at himself through a hole in the hood. Cousin Charlie's coat covered him completely, except for his shoes. The fur lining was warm. It felt cozy. Now he was ready to go back outside. I think the cat is a little confused. Look at his face and the way his tail is up in the air. Scott walked slowly. He flapped his arms about to keep from bumping into things. In the yard he giggled. The cold wind could not find him now. He felt snug inside the coat. It was a good day to go walk into the park. Look, there goes a coat, someone shouted. It's walking all by itself, another voice cried. It was Cindy and Susan. Scott waved. Oh, it sees us, Cindy shouted. Run for your life, cried Susan. Scott laughed. Hello there, Coat, a friendly voice said behind him. I'm going to the bakery. Would you like to come with me? The voice belonged to his neighbor, Mrs. Capo. Scott nodded. He felt Mrs. Capo take his coat sleeve. Look at that, will you? A man's voice said. A lady walking a coat. What next? Oh, the dog is a little confused too, looking after that coat. I wonder if Mrs. Capo knows that it's him. Inside the shop, Mrs. Capo said, Good morning, Mr. Bobbin. I would like 12 rolls, please, and a donut for this fine-looking coat. A donut for a coat? A coat eats donuts? Mr. Bobbin's voice was loud with surprise. Are you sure? Of course I'm sure, said Mrs. Capo. Say, Coat, she asked, do you want your donut glazed? Scott shook his head. Amazing, said Mr. Bobbin. Scott felt something soft and sugary at his fingertips. It was the donut. He took it and guided the long coat sleeve under the hood to his mouth. Then he took a bite. Unbelievable, exclaimed Mr. Bobbin. I have never seen anything like it. Here, sleeve, he said. Have another. Scott took the donut at the fingertips of his right hand. Thank you, he said. It talks, cried Mr. Bobbin. It's a smart coat, said Mrs. Capo. Polite, too. Amazing, said Mr. Bobbin. You know, the more I think about it, the more I think she knows that it's him under that coat. When Scott left the bakery, he started toward the park. Hey, Coat, look this way. I want your picture for the Evening Star. Scott turned and the voice called out, Thanks. See you in the news. Oh, it's a photographer from the newspaper. In the park, Scott sat down to rest. Soon he would look for his friend Ray. Oh, you see the strangest creatures in the park these days, he heard someone complain. How unsafe, said another. Scott looked around. but he did not see the creature. Instead, he saw two people hurrying away. Do you think he's the creature they're talking about? I like the way all the pigeons are gathered around trying to figure out what that thing on the bench is. He walked around a large statue to look for Ray. He saw a small dog. He warmed it under his coat until the owner came looking for it. Aw, such a cute puppy. Someone screamed, "Help, a thief!" Scott had never seen a thief. He ran to look. He ran crash right into him. A policeman came running. "Thank you, Coat," he said. "That was quick thinking." Ray was leaving the park when Scott found him. "Where did you get that coat?" he asked. "From Cousin Charlie," Scott said. "I wish I had one like that," said Ray. Scott unbuttoned the coat. "Get in," he said. "I will walk you home." "My word," said a loud voice as the boys walked slowly along. "A walking coat! A four-legged coat!" a small voice cried. Scott and Ray giggled. "Look at that, a walking, giggling, four-footed coat," someone else said. Horns honked, voices laughed, and hands clapped. Scott was happy and hungry for lunch when he returned to his own house. He went into the kitchen to find his mother. "Help!" she cried. "A robber!" Scott removed the hood from his face. His eyes sparkled. "It's not a robber," he said. "It's me." Oh, the cat figured out that it was him. Look at it. It's purring and rubbing against him.